Welcome to Musée Magazine People of the Year interviews. I'm Olivia.
I'm Yukino Nakamura.
All right. So Yukino, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Yukino Nakamura. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a fourth year chemistry student. So I'm in my last semester, which is pretty exciting, a little nerve-wracking, but overall excited. I've been involved in some stuff on campus and off campus. I've done research for a couple years now, and I've been on the DEI committee within the chemistry department. And I am serving as a co-lead for an inclusive classrooms working group. And I've done a few things over the summer that hopefully I can talk about later on more in depth. I also am a huge karate enthusiast. So I've been doing that for a really long time now. And I've done some karate camps to help teach kids karate. And I've done that for 6 years now. So that has been a huge part of my life. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, well that's awesome. So what's your major?
I'm majoring in chemistry within College of Science and Engineering.
All right, and what do you plan to do with that major after college?
Yeah, I am on the pre-medical track, so hopefully I will be applying to medical school in about a year. So I'll be taking a couple years off after I graduate to just work before I apply.
All right, so you're planning on becoming a doctor?
Yes, that's the hope.
That's the hope? All right, so that's a lot to become a doctor. What keeps you motivated?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a part of my personality. I practice delayed gratification, so I'm totally fine with working hard, now, because I know that my future self will thank me later. But also another thing is just reflecting on why I do the things that I do. Mm-hmm. I think that it's easy sometimes to lose sight of what your overall goal is when you're just bogged down with homework or projects, exams, other commitments. So I do take time to kind of step back and just reflect on why I'm doing what I'm doing and why they're important.
Yeah, that's great. And you said that you're involved in activities in the community, that you were doing research. Mm-hmm. What is this research that you're specifically doing?
Currently, I'm doing research related to senescence, which is implicated in aging and age-related diseases.
Okay. What you're learning in this research, is this something that you're going to apply in the future?
Potentially, but I think that maybe with my path in the medical field, I mean, there are overlaps, but I might be focusing on something else during that.
Yeah. All right, and you said that you are a karate enthusiast and that you teach kids how to do karate. So what caused you to love karate so much?
Yeah, it's one of the things that I started off when I was young, and it's something that I felt like there was a lot of growth for me, so I continued it. And I've competed a lot nationally and even internationally. So wow. I've traveled places. So it's been a huge part of my life. But I think starting college, I wasn't able to practice as much to enter competitions. So I directed more of my efforts towards teaching kids and being involved in the summer camps that we host every summer. And that's been really rewarding. It's kind of nice to use my knowledge and the skills that I've built up over the years and like pass it on to like younger, enthusiastic children. And they grow so fast, so it's really nice to just see them grow throughout even just 1 week. So that's been really nice for me.
That's wonderful. Are you going to keep teaching kids karate in the future?
I would like to. I don't know how the plans will work out so that I can, but karate has been a big part of my life. So hopefully I can utilize it in some sort of capacity, whether it's like teaching children or practicing myself. But yeah, I hope that I can continue some sort of like teaching. It is rewarding.
That's wonderful. So, who's your role model?
Yeah, there is a couple that come to mind, all of whom made huge impacts in my life, but I have to highlight my significant other. I think, he's helped me so much throughout my time at the U, and I feel empowered to do the things that I do now because he's always been there to cheer me on. And he's taught me so many things, and so I do aspire to be like him every day.
That's wonderful. All right, so what are your goals for the upcoming year?
Oh boy, I haven't thought too much about like next year, but I think I can talk about my goals this year because I think they do apply to next year. I have like 2 categories, like the simple goals and the more like complex goals. But the simple goals include learning or relearning Spanish because I learned a lot in high school, but I forgot like 80% of it. So I really want to relearn Spanish. I really like language. I want to read more, and I want to put more effort on saving. The more complex goals, I have a couple, but I think always something that I've always kept in mind was evaluating my values and being open to different perspectives. So just keep developing those, keep revisiting my values. Another thing is also being intentional with like what I spend my time on or like with who. And I think the last one is focusing on a growth mindset. I've realized that I think I've had a fixed mindset for some time, like thinking like if I can't do something, I'll attribute it to like, oh, it's because I'm this, without thinking that it's something that I can learn and I can grow from it. So just adopting that growth mindset and keeping that in mind.
Yeah, and so all those complex goals just seem very characteristic of a really good leader and then also a really good member of the community. To go off of that, what are some qualities of a good leader?
I think for me, it's probably taking action when maybe like the majority hasn't already. So being able to kind of take that risk to be like the first one to take action. I think that I've tried to work on that with myself because it's important to address certain issues, and things are time sensitive, so it's important to come forth and like put yourself out there first. So I think that is probably the characteristic that comes to my mind.
All right, and how about a good member of the community?
I think just being engaged and like being involved. So putting yourself in there in the community, because then you have a better idea of like what the needs are of the community, so you can better find your role in addressing any issues that might arise.
That's wonderful. Do you have any advice for incoming freshmen or for anybody who wants to get involved in the community?
Yeah, I think that first, when you first come to, university, you're still figuring out yourself. So don't be afraid to, take on different opportunities, even if maybe you think initially that it's not something that you can see yourself doing. You'll be surprised by like how things actually are, and you can only know that by actually applying yourself and being open to new opportunities. And I think that allows you to be more in touch with the community. And so, yeah, just overall, don't be afraid to put yourself out there, experience new things, and try not to limit yourself.
Yeah. All right. Wonderful. So what is one thing about the community that you would like to change?
I would say have people have more empathy. I think that there's a lot of traumatic and tragic things that happen because lack of empathy. And I think that there are things that can be prevented if people thought a little bit more about how their words and actions can impact people and things. So that would be my number one thing is more empathy.
Yeah, no, I completely understand that. So how do you what keeps you motivated to keep fighting the issues that you care about?
Yeah. So for me, this is being engaged in the work in multiple capacities. So for me, it's DEI work. So I kind of touched on this earlier that I'm currently involved in an inclusive classrooms working group within the chemistry DEI committee. And the main purpose of our group is to develop resources for creating inclusive classroom environments so that all students can reach their academic potential. And so I realized that the more I got myself involved, the more I learned and the more salient the injustices around me have become. And I think this propelled me to seek opportunities to find my role in fighting injustices. And so that allowed me to kind of extend the work beyond campus, like during grant writing for a homeless shelter or redeveloping a youth resource page for Hennepin County for better accessibility. And I think it just all kind of feeds into the cycle where the more I'm involving myself, the more I'm learning not only about the issues themselves, but also my own biases and ignorance. And the more that I want to work to address those things. And I think that at this point right now, I realize the gravity of issues such as racism or disability, injustice, mental health, the nuanced impacts of intersectionality, because I've seen how those things impact people's livelihoods, how there are unique issues that people with marginalized identities carry as we all are navigating the same system. And you're not doing this because of self-satisfaction or altruism. You're doing this because it's the right thing to do.
That was a wonderful response to that question. So what are some challenges in facing your goals and how do you overcome them?
There are exactly 2 challenges that come to mind. So one is burnout. And I experienced this multiple times throughout my undergraduate career, where I would just lose motivation to do anything, and things just got too tiring. And I think kind of a simple solution to that I found was taking breaks. And it seems, I mean, I said simple, but like for someone who's just go, 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 it's kind of hard to like fit that break in, because you feel like, oh, this is time that I could be using for something else, or you just feel guilty for like taking a break. But I've kind of tried to rewire my mind in thinking that breaks are normal, and it's not sustainable to just keep going, go, go, go. And you have to take these breaks. It's good for you. The second thing is imposter syndrome. And I'm pretty sure everyone has experienced this at one point. But I did take a year off after my first year at the U, because I was just going through a lot of stuff. But maybe because of that, I sometimes question myself, like, do I deserve to be here? Like, do I belong here? And I still haven't found like a solution for that, because it's something that I do feel occasionally, even still. But I think something that has helped me is kind of talking with other people who may have like different backgrounds as well, and kind of creating that community where we can all uplift each other and, you know, validate our experiences and validate our existence in being there, you know, being in the classroom, being at the U.
That's wonderful. All right, so it was so nice to meet you. Thank you for this
you.
interview.
Thank you, Olivia.
Oh.